The number one thing I want people to understand is this, is that you are actually not addicted to your addiction, but you are addicted to the emotion. Hey guys, it's Joe here from RCTV. I am back with some quality content. Yeah, let's go. By the end of this video, you will have clear idea on how to overcome your addiction. I've been doing a lot of coaching lately, and a lot of people have been asking me that question. Joe, I'm going through this and I have this addiction and that addiction. What's the way to go? What's the way to go? And I really thought about it. What's the way to go for those of us who are addicted? I think we are all addicted. It just depends on where in the spectrum of addiction you're really sitting on. And so by the end of this video, expect to know exactly what to do about your addiction and how to overcome your addiction. So I'm gonna start in and I'm gonna lay out 3 different reasons why you're addicted to begin with, because awareness is always the step to proceed change. And at the end of the video, I would also give you 3 tips and 3 actions you can do right now to be able to start working through this process of overcoming that which you're addicted. Alright, let's go. Number 1, when people come to me and say, Joe, I'm addicted to this and I'm addicted to that, the number 1 thing I want people to understand is this, is that you are actually not addicted to your addiction, but you are addicted to the emotion. Usually when someone says, or someone comes in, I'm addicted to alcohol, what they're expecting and what they think is going on is the alcohol is the problem. But I want you guys to understand and to see it from a different layer, that the addiction itself is not the alcohol. And this is new. This is new news to a lot of you, and this was new news to myself when I was doing my studies, trying to help my clients and trying to help them overcome different things. When I hit this knowledge, I was impressed. I couldn't believe my mind that we spend so much time thinking that the object we're addicted with, or the alcohol, whatever you think your addiction is, we think that's the true problem. And so you have people running mile away. When they see alcohol, they just run a distance. But we both know if you live a life like that, you will never truly be free. And you will never truly overcome the addiction, because you're just legging it. Because you know the moment that you see this bottle of alcohol, all sense of self-control is gone. But I want to tell you that the first point is to realize that you are actually not addicted to whatever you think you're addicted to, but you are addicted to the emotion. You are addicted to the feeling. You are addicted to how it makes you feel. That's step 1 we need to realize. Number 2 is to know that the more you try to escape it, the worse the addiction gets. As humans, one of the things we don't realize is that whatever we focus on definitely increases. And so if I spend hours and hours trying to figure out how to not think about, let's say, suppose I got into in a fight, for example. Let's say I got into a fight, and actually funny story is a while ago I was in an incident. I was playing into soccer, and I had an incident where I usually don't react to things, but I almost lost my self-control in this situation. And so when I got home, I'm like, man, you've been thinking about this on your drive home. I was thinking about it. When I got home, I was thinking about it. This very incident was just running into my mind. Man, I almost lost some self-control there and got myself into a fight. This is not part of my character. This is not what I stand for. And these thoughts kept running in my mind. Yeah, these thoughts kept running in the back of my head, again and again and again. And then at some point I said, you know what, stop thinking about it. And the more I tried to stop thinking about it, the more I kept thinking about it. It kept returning. And this is because our mind actually doesn't know anything about negation. It doesn't know do and don'ts. What it does know is whatever you put your attention to is that which is your focus on. So in terms of addiction, we are spending so much time focusing on how to overcome that addiction, and as a result our mind just all you hear is addiction, you're addicted, addiction, and it affirms to the mind that it's addicted even more. It affirms to your reality that that is your current situation. The worst thing is when we affirm it to our mind and we say, I am addicted. Here's what I always like to tell my clients is don't identify yourself with your problems. Don't do that. You're experiencing a season of addiction, but you are not one with the addiction. To say I am addicted is to recognize that you are one with the addiction. You're not an addict. Don't say that. Now the third thing is this. Your addiction, according to your mind, is your savior. You might ask me and say, what do you really mean by that? Let's rewind and actually think about, when did we pick up this addiction? That's a question for you to document, to think about right now. Right now. Where you are right now. Start thinking about it. When was the initial state? When did you originally started doing the certain thing that you're doing? And as you go in and you start tracing back to figure out, you come to an understanding of what I've just said, which is your addiction is your savior. I did some study on the psychology of human nature, and what I figured out, what I found out is this, is that when we are placed in a season, in a situation that to our brain, to our mind, it doesn't seem safe, we look for an escape. When we sense that there is no safety, the mind looks for an escape. Where can I escape? Where can I distract myself with? A lot of us got addicted as a result of pursuing an escape. It saved you from a situation you were running away from. It saved you from thoughts, from an environment. When you were in those situations and you needed to escape, you ran to social media to get some dopamine fix. When you felt low about yourself, every time you felt low self-esteem, you ran to social media. Every time you felt low self-esteem, you looked up of ways to have sex with somebody, whatever, so you can feel like you're still alive. Every time you felt low, every time you felt low, every time you felt like a situation was over what you can handle, you looked left, right, and center for an escape. And that escape became your savior. But over time, if you're out of that environment and you're no longer in an abusive relationship, for example, so like you might be in an abusive relationship and your escape is cigarette, you might go smoke to try to escape that reality because you don't feel like you're powerful enough to overcome what you're going through. And as you go through and start smoking, that becomes, and the best way to say it is, what was once an escape, a savior, will soon become and has become the chains that hold you. It's become your prison. And that's the reality of addiction. Your savior has enslaved you. So now that we know these three things, and what are these three things, you know what the three things are, that you are actually not addicted to your addictions, but you're addicted to the emotion, to how it makes you feel. The more you try to escape the addiction, the worse where it gets. And the third one that we just spoke to is that your addiction is your savior, because one of the reasons why we got hooked onto it is because we were escaping something else, and in that particular moment that was our savior. I don't want you to feel guilty about any of the things that I've just said now, because it's how it is. It's reality. It's what's already happened. Don't feel guilty about what's already happened. Why? Because right now I'm gonna give you 3 things you can do right now. 3 things you can do right now to start to improve your processes of overcoming these very addiction. You want your life to be free. You want your life to be to have the freedom to, if you don't want to drink, you don't drink. If you don't want to smoke, you don't smoke. If you see a drink, for example, or if you see an ex, you don't get angry. You keep your calm. You want to have control of your life, and if you want to have control of your life, a way to do so is to have control of your mind. And so I'm going to give you 3 things. Now, without any further ado, let's get into it. The first thing is we got to get to the roots, and this will require a lot of vulnerability. It will require for you to really document what happens in your mind. We have to get, number 1 is getting down to the root. What is this very thing that caused this addiction? What were you escaping from? Because the more we are aware of what's causing the issue, we can actually solve it. We have to get down to its root. If we cut the branches, it will come straight back up. So I have people come up to me and say, look, I've been going to therapy and so forth, and like, I'm not bashing therapy or anything, but if we don't get down to the roots, even in therapy, nothing will come by from it. They spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on therapy. And what will happen was, usually what we do is only behavior modification. We'll go there and we'll try to modify people's behavior. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And the chances are, when you tell someone don't do something, they must stop it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, boom, and it'll come straight back up. Why? Because we're cutting the branches. We'll cut a branch, and when you cut the branch, give it a month, give it 2 months, boom, it'll come straight back up. So that's definitely not a way of plucking out a tree. We gotta get deep down to the roots, and your roots could literally be the first 7 years of your life, because that's when the subconscious pattern gets built. I know this is a very difficult thing to do, but see what you can do on your own. But if you ever need help, feel free to reach out. I'll put description in the comment section. You can book out a life coaching session, and I can sit with you and really help you get through and break down these subconscious patterns that were accumulated that are causing you to be addicted. And I'm here to help, so don't ever feel alone. Number 2, we gotta change your focus. I spoke about this before. Where we focus on is where energy goes, and where energy goes, result shows. What you focus on plays a huge part in what you get. And so you cannot focus on you being an addict and overcome that. You have to change your current reality and your concept of yourself. I always say this: you change the concept of who you call self, your outside reality will reflect your new reality. So we have to work on self-love. We have to work on self-love. Self-love is always the way to go. So by changing the focus, and like I said before, where focus goes, energy flows, result shows. A lot of the things and a lot of experiences that you're experiencing in this reality will dissolve. You will not need to fix it, because a sense of self-love will resolve a lot of your problem. And for you, this could be your addiction. For you, it could be what you're going through right now. So how do I be? You say, I am free. That's always the starting. You say, I am well. I am no longer addicted. I am in love. I love myself. Something so empowering that will trigger a willpower to overcome that which you're going through. Third thing you can do right now from where you are, we have to replace instead of remove. That's the number 3 statement. Suppose you've got a field that's essentially empty. What happens is weed starts growing into it. Weed. And you want green grass. You want green grass right there. But weeds start growing into it. Suppose you pluck one out, and then you still leave an empty space. What happens? Another one's gonna go straight back up. Look, our mind works the same way, yeah? If we pluck something out and we don't replace it, we live in our space for the very thing that we plucked out, another version of it, to come back into it. So the thoughts that were dominating your minds were thoughts of addictions and thoughts of so forth. Suppose you kick those thoughts out, but you don't replace it with positive thoughts. You don't replace it with thoughts of power, the thoughts that empowers you for greatness. So now the secret is what? The secret is not to simply remove, but the secret is to replace. And so you have to do so. You have to replace it with something that you value a lot. And as you do so, what you value, you put the focus on it, and as you focus on it, that becomes your savior. And as that becomes your savior, your addiction starts dimming. And it's a process of this. It's a transition. And there's been cases where I've helped people where the addiction was here, and it just boom, because all these guys needed is just the awareness. How you feel about how much you want to overcome and how valuable it really is to you makes a huge impact. It's the driving force to how quick you get results. I'm glad you guys were able to join me today, and follow us on YouTube, follow us on all our social media, and I hope that the talk today was very useful to you. And if you need extra help, feel free to always reach out to us at Reality Creation TV for some life coaching or relationship coaching to help you become who you want to become and help you reach a life of fulfillment, we're here for you, and we're here to help you discover your gift and purpose to become effective in this life. Woo! We out.